A few months ago, I was meeting with a couple who just retired. They had plenty saved up. Their finances were in good shape, and by all measures, they should have been thrilled. But when I asked them what they were looking forward to most in retirement, they both went quiet. Finally, the husband said, Mike, we're not really sure. We've been so focused on saving for retirement that we never really thought about what we'd actually do in retirement." They're not alone. I see this all the time. People spend decades building their nest egg, and then when they finally get there, they realize they forgot to build a life to go with it. Welcome back to Glad You Asked. I'm Mike McCulloch, a certified financial planner, and today we're talking about something that doesn't show up on any balance sheet, but might be the most valuable thing you invest in: your hobbies. Now, I know what you're thinking. Mike, I thought this was a finance channel. Why are we talking about hobbies? Here's why. Because the research is overwhelming. Retirees who have active hobbies and interests live longer, stay healthier, and report being significantly happier than those who don't. And from a financial planning perspective, investing in the right hobbies early can actually save you money in the long run, especially when it comes to healthcare costs and your overall quality of life. So let's talk about why your hobbies might be the smartest investment you ever make, and how to think about them as part of your retirement plan. Let me paint a picture for you. You've worked for 30, 40, maybe even 50 years. You've built a career, you've earned a title, you've got routines, colleagues, projects, deadlines. Your work gives you structure, purpose, and, let's be honest, a big part of your identity. Then one day you retire, and suddenly all of that's gone. No more Monday morning meetings, no more projects to finish, no more title on your business card. And for a lot of people, that's when the trouble starts. I've seen it happen. Retirees who were sharp, engaged, and energetic at work suddenly feel aimless. They don't know what to do with themselves. Some sleep in late every day, not because they're tired, but because they don't have a reason to get up. Others spend hours just watching TV, not because they enjoy it, but because it fills the time. And here's the thing, that aimlessness isn't just emotionally draining. It's physically dangerous. Studies show that retirees without hobbies or social engagement are at higher risk for depression, cognitive decline, and even earlier mortality. One study found that people who retire without a plan for staying active and engaged are 40% more likely to be diagnosed with depression within the first year. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be that way. And that's where hobbies come in. Okay, let's talk about the financial side of this. You know how much healthcare costs in retirement, right? The average couple retiring today will spend over $300,000 on healthcare throughout retirement. That's not including long-term care. That's just regular medical expenses, prescriptions, copays, procedures, all of it. Now, what if I told you that having an active hobby could reduce those costs significantly? Research shows that people who stay physically and mentally active through hobbies have fewer doctor's visits, lower rates of chronic illness, and a reduced need for medications. One study even found that older adults who engage in creative hobbies like painting, woodworking, or music are less likely to develop dementia. Let me give you a real example. I have a client. Let's call him Tom. Tom retired at 65 and decided to take up cycling. Not professionally or anything crazy, just casual rides a few times a week. He joined a local cycling club, started doing group rides on weekends, and before long, he was riding 50 miles a week. Fast forward 5 years. Tom's now 70. He's in better shape than he was at 60. His cholesterol is down. His blood pressure is normal. He's off 2 of the medications he used to take. And his doctor told him flat out, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Now, I'm not saying hobbies are a magic cure-all, but Tom's healthcare costs over the past 5 years have been about 30% lower than the average for someone his age. That's real money, thousands of dollars that he didn't have to spend on prescriptions, procedures, or managing chronic conditions. And cycling? His bike cost him $800. He spends maybe $50 a month on maintenance and gear. Over 5 years, that's about $3,800 total. Compare that to the savings on healthcare alone, and it's not even close. That's what I mean when I say hobbies are an investment. They're not just fun. They're financially smart. Here's another thing people underestimate. Hobbies build community, and community matters more in retirement than almost anything else. When you're working, your social life often revolves around your job, colleagues, work friends, happy hours after a big project. But when you retire, that network disappears almost overnight. And for a lot of people, that's isolating. Loneliness in retirement is a real problem. Studies show it's as bad for your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It increases your risk of heart disease, stroke, and cognitive decline. And it's incredibly common. More than a third of retirees report feeling lonely on a regular basis. But hobbies? They're a built-in antidote to loneliness. Think about it. If you join a book club, you're not just reading, you're making friends. If you take up golf, you're not just playing, you're part of a community. If you volunteer at a local theater or art gallery, you're surrounded by people who share your interests. I have another client. Let's call her Susan. She retired 3 years ago after a long career in finance. She didn't know many people outside of work, and for the first few months, she struggled. She felt disconnected, aimless. Then she joined a local pottery class. At first, it was just something to do. But over time, she got to know the other people in the class. They started meeting for coffee. They'd go to art shows together. One of them invited her to a hiking group. And now, 3 years later, Susan has a new circle of friends. She told me recently, "Mike, I didn't realize how much I needed that. It's not just about the pottery, it's about the people." That's the social capital of hobbies. They give you connection, they give you belonging, and they give you a reason to show up, even on the days when you're not sure you want to. Here's something I don't think we talk about enough. Retirement can feel meaningless if you don't have something you care about. For decades, your purpose came from work. You had goals, you had achievements, you had a reason to get up in the morning. But when that's gone, what replaces it? For a lot of retirees, the answer is hobbies. I'm not talking about just killing time. I'm talking about hobbies that challenge you, engage you, and give you something to strive for. Maybe it's learning to play the piano. Maybe it's writing a book. Maybe it's mastering woodworking or getting really good at photography or training for a marathon. Whatever it is, it gives you a sense of progress, a sense of accomplishment. I have a friend who retired and decided to learn Italian, not because he needed it for anything, just because he'd always wanted to. He started with an app, then took classes at a local community college, and eventually he traveled to Italy and spent a month there, speaking the language every day. He told me, "Mike, learning Italian gave me something to work toward. It made me feel like I was still growing, still becoming something more." That's what hobbies do. They give you a reason to keep moving forward. Okay, so we've established that hobbies are good for your health, your social life, and your sense of purpose. But let's talk about the practical side. How do you budget for them? Because here's the thing. Some hobbies are expensive. Golf, boating, collecting art, travel. If you're not careful, hobbies can blow up your retirement budget real fast. But most hobbies, they're actually pretty affordable. Gardening costs a few $100s a year, tops. Reading is nearly free if you use the library. Hiking costs you nothing but a good pair of shoes. Volunteering is free and incredibly rewarding. The key is to be intentional. Just like you budget for housing, healthcare, and groceries, you should budget for hobbies because they're not optional, they're essential. I often recommend setting aside about 5 to 10% of your retirement spending for hobbies and leisure. For most retirees, that's somewhere between $3,000 and $10,000 a year. It sounds like a lot, but remember, this isn't frivolous spending. This is investing in your health, your happiness, and your longevity. And if a hobby costs more than your budget allows, get creative. Love golf but can't afford a country club membership? Play at municipal courses. Want to travel but don't have the budget for luxury? Go slow, stay longer, and choose less expensive destinations. There's almost always a way to make it work. Here's the last thing I want to say. It's never too late to start. I know some of you are thinking, Mike, I'm 70 years old. I can't just pick up a new hobby now. Yes, you can. I've seen clients in their 70s learn to paint, take up yoga, start writing, join choirs, and volunteer for causes they care about. Age is not a barrier. If anything, retirement gives you the time and freedom to explore things you never could before. And here's the secret. You don't have to be good at it. You just have to enjoy it. One of my clients took up watercolor painting in his late 60s. He jokes that his paintings look like abstract disasters, but he loves it. He spends hours in his studio experimenting with colors and techniques. And every time I see him, he's excited to tell me about his latest project. That's what hobbies are about. Not perfection, not mastery, just engagement, just joy. So here's the bigger picture. Retirement isn't just about having enough money. It's about having enough life. Your hobbies are how you build that life. They keep you healthy, connected, and purposeful. They give you something to look forward to. They make retirement feel less like an ending and more like a beginning. And from a financial planning perspective, they're one of the best investments you can make. They reduce healthcare costs, they improve your quality of life, and they help ensure that your retirement is long, fulfilling, and worth all those years of saving. So if you're retired or close to it, and you don't have a hobby yet, start exploring, try things, join groups, take classes, see what resonates. And if you already have hobbies, double down. Budget for them, prioritize them, treat them like the essential part of your retirement plan that they are. Because at the end of the day, the best investment isn't just the one that grows your wealth. It's the one that grows your life. Thanks for watching. Glad you asked. If this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future episodes. I'll see you next time.